train, I don't know where I'll find you. Still on my mind when I got home. Now I'm all alone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Girl on a Train. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. I am super excited because we have finally made it to our first guest of season 3. I was thinking about people that I wanted to have on season 3 that I really feel like can provide value, like I was saying in my last episode. And I feel like this person is the best first guest to have. Seriously, makes me so happy. I'm super excited that he's here today. And without further ado, let me introduce you to Tyler Cavallaro.
What's going on, guys? I'm happy to be on here. Looking forward to all the questions that will be going on.
Yeah, I'm super excited you're here as well. So for people who may not know who you are, who are you? What do you do? Let's give like your quick background elevator pitch, just like your 20-second little pitch.
Okay, sweet. My name is Tyler Cavallaro. I was born and raised in Aruba. I'm going to school at Coastal Carolina University. I'm really into photo and video stuff. Despite me not studying that in college, I've been doing it for 5 years. I'm self-taught. And I really love it, and that's what I see myself doing in my future. So I'm setting the pace now to go forward and go forward fast.
Oh, I love that. That's such a great quote to start off with. That's amazing. And seriously, guys, I was so attracted to Tyler's content because he is so talented. We will definitely plug his socials and everything if you guys want to check him out after listening to this episode. But he is just truly so talented, and I really feel like he can offer value to some people that might want to go into the creator space, because I know watching his videos and just seeing everything that he does makes me very inspired. So I hope that he can provide that for you guys as well. So before we get into our first segment, let's talk about how I know you. I do this with everybody. So I found Tyler because you guys know him, you love him, Mr. Arlen Moore. Tyler used to work for Arlen, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I saw that like Arlen posted that you were the guy he picked to be, I guess, were you his videographer? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was working for Arlen for about a month or two out in LA, and it was a phenomenal experience. I learned so much from it, and despite things not working out in the end, we're still on super great terms. And we still keep in touch. So it's a great guy, and it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, he's really great to kind of collab with in that sense. He offers so much to people, and one of my friends is currently living with him now, doing like his mentorship program, and he said nothing but great things about it. So I'm really happy for him and that.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he's amazing. Shout out Arlen. But yeah, so I found you through Arlen and what like you were doing with him, and I checked out your YouTube, and I was like, yeah, like, you know when you just see someone and you're like yeah, like this is it. That's how I felt.
Hey, thank you.
That's how I felt with you. I was like, this boy is gonna be famous. Like, I don't know, it's just there's some people that have that, they have that content style. They have that, just something about them. And it was really reassuring to know that in addition to you being such an amazing creator, you're also just such a great person. And also, this is a like total side note. It's not in my show notes that I have for myself. You have such a nice voice. Has anyone ever told you that?
Hey, thank you. I've gotten that a couple times. You've been real sweet today.
Such a good voice.
All my teachers have been like, you gotta do something with like radio.
Yes,
you gotta do something like that.
Another reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast. But you have such a great voice. It's just very, okay, exotic is just like not the right word. It's just very, it's not something I hear every day. Do you know?
Yeah, I've gotten that, like, there's a little bit of an accent there or something like that every once in a while. Some people say I do, some people say I don't.
I love it. No, it's
interesting.
great.
It's definitely something from like Aruba that just like
Probably.
I grew up with.
Yeah, no, amazing. I love it. I just wanted to say it as a side note. That's great. So that's basically how I know Tyler, and we kind of just became like friendly through, you know, the creator space. We obviously are both somewhat doing the same thing. So it's really great to be able to network and build connections with people in this space that, you know, are amazing creators, but also amazing people as well. So I'm super happy that, you know, again, shout out Arlen, that we were able to connect in that sense.
Oh yeah, vice versa.
Amazing. Thanks so much. So let's get into, oh my gosh, this is the first time that I'm doing my new format with people. So I'm like super excited for this. So our first segment is called Tap and Go. And I don't know if you're familiar with the New York City subway system, so you might not know what any of these terms mean, but that's totally fine.
However, I do know I was like a huge Skizzy Mars, G-Eazy, Black Bear fan.
Shut up!
So.
I love Skizzy Mars. Wait, I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's the name of your podcast, From Girl on a Train.
Wait, you know? Wow! You've really bumped up on my list. You're probably one of my favorite guests, and we're like 5 minutes into the
I was waiting to say that at some point. I knew that would score me a few extra points.
Oh, let's go! Wait, I did not know that you knew Skizzy Mars because I've met him. Can you see? Obviously, the podcast is not. Oh my god, yeah. The podcast is obviously not going to be able to see this, but I went to his concert. He signed that poster right there. Do you see it?
Dude.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I'll send you pictures of me and him after we're done
recording.
Please do. He is just the coolest guy ever. Oh my god, I love that you knew that. That made me so happy. Wow. Wait, I'm glad you recognized where I got the inspo for the name from.
Well, I mean, I put two and two together. I just wasn't sure that that's where you got it from because I'm sure, like, I don't know. I thought that was a popular thing, Skizzy Mars.
No, not... Well, okay.
Low-key.
In New York, yes, but if I asked someone from another place, I had no clue that you were, that you were going to say that. Wow, that made me so happy.
I loved that, like, genre of music was incredible. That, like, old G-Eazy, that old Black Bear, that Skizzy Mars, Hoodie Allen. Like, that wasn't even, like... It was rap, but it wasn't rap, but it was also, like...
It
was a mix of so many...
Yeah. Yep. Okay, well, I'm glad that you know that. Also, Girl on a Train, his song is my, like, intro song to the episode, as well. Yeah. So, wow. Okay, that made me so happy. But anyways, so yes, Tap and Go obviously has to do with the subway system. It's like the new thing that they have instead of, like, swiping your Metro card. And in this section, it's basically the meat of the episode, like what we're mostly going to be talking about. So feel free to say as much as you want or as little. It's really up to you. And I want to first start off by talking about content because, like you said in the beginning of the episode, that is obviously a big part of your life and it's also a big part of my life, so I feel like we can definitely connect in that sense. But I guess first I wanted to know, for people who don't know you, where is like your or like what are your primary platforms that you post content on?
I try to pride myself on posting where I think my audience is the most. So like right now my primary platforms are Instagram and YouTube, and I mess around on Snapchat every once in a while, but I really try to like I call it like a social media hiatus. So like there'll be instances where I won't be on Snapchat for a while, or I won't be on X, Y, and Z app, so I can like really focus on Instagram and YouTube. So I would say those, because that's where my audience is for the majority.
I love it. No, that's amazing. And I guess speaking about all that, where did your inspiration to kind of start being in this space come from? Was there someone you were inspired by? Was it kind of just like I picked up a camera one day and I wanted to do this? What was the inspiration for being in this space and creating?
Well, so I had like the iPhone 5C like forever, way too long actually. I had it for like 4 or 5 years.
It's okay. It happens.
And I really fell in love with taking photos on that, and I was posting to Visco like forever ago.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, being born and raised on Aruba, I mean, you can turn around, snap a picture of whatever, and it ends up being beautiful. And
of course,
I kind of like learned what makes a good photo and what doesn't, just like through seeing like what people on Visco would like, and it like started to blow up. And I was like, damn, if people are liking like my photos from an iPhone 5C, I couldn't imagine what I could do with like a camera. And the thing about me is like when I do something, I either give it like 0% or I do it 100%. So I worked my ass off like an entire summer to be able to afford a camera. And I mean, it was like a 50-50 chance whether I was going to like going in depth into something like foreign to me, or I would absolutely not like it at all. And the chances were good. I mean, I like it. I'm still doing it 5 years later. And every single day that like I talk about it, like right now, the podcast can't see, but there's a smile on my face. Like I love talking about this stuff. So yeah, my inspiration, so I went to like Florida one year, and like I saved up all my money, and I went to like the B&H website and I ordered it to Florida because it's tough to order stuff to Aruba. And then since then, it was actually December 27, 2015. Always remember it.
Wow. That is so fun. I love that. I didn't know that it was hard to order stuff to Aruba. Is there any reason for that, or just because it's like far
The
from
tax,
the States?
it takes a long time, and then it's a multitude of reasons. But like they'll multiply like whatever you order basically by 2. And now, so if you're buying like electronics and stuff, like now a $1,000 camera is now a $2,000 camera, and for like a 15-year-old kid working all summer, that's a big difference.
Oh my gosh, of course. Yeah, huge difference. Well, I'm glad that you were able to get it. What was your first camera that you got?
I got the Canon 70D shortly after that, like a year later.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's the camera that Casey Neistat and David Dobrik built their channels on. So
that was my first one, my first inspiration with everything, because of them too.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot about that. You don't need all this fancy stuff, and I know plenty of people that have like started on like iPhones.
Yeah,
so.
the Arlen actually started on his iPhone.
Oh, there we go.
Look where he is now.
Yeah.
So that's just someone that, you know, we both know, and people who listen to this, we talk about Arlen all the time. So that's really cool. I love that. I love that you made the connection to Casey and David, because they're 2 of my biggest inspirations. David's like my biggest, like my like life goal is like to be the girl version of David Dobrik. I feel like I've definitely said that to you before.
Hey, there's space for that.
I love him. Oh my gosh, he makes me so happy. But yeah, that's amazing. And I love your story with, you know, coming into this space. That's really, really great. I'm wondering, because I love your videos so much, what do you edit on? Like, what is your main platform for that?
I jumped around from a bunch of different editing platforms. I mean, I started on a program that was around. I mean, it's still around. I don't even remember what it's called.
Is it called
Sony
DaVinci?
Vegas.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of that
Yeah,
one.
I started on Sony Vegas, and then I was just doing like GoPro stuff on there. And then I went to Final Cut Pro. I mean, everybody kind of like hacks their little programs and stuff. And I got Final Cut Pro, and mine was crashing forever. And then I found out about Sam Colder. And that was like in like 2015, 2016. And I learned that he edited on Premiere, and I was like, that's what I got to do.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
So there's a massive learning curve with Premiere, but I went and learned Premiere, and honestly, I've realized now, after a couple years, there's not really a difference between Final Cut Pro and Premiere. It's just kind of what you're used to and what you started on. So I jumped around all over. I like Premiere now. I use Premiere now. So that's that.
That's great. What do you think was the biggest change that you saw? Obviously, one is an Adobe app, one is a like Apple app. But what do you think was the hardest change for you switching from Final Cut to Premiere?
Well, I'll give that question 2 answers. One of the great things is that I was already using Lightroom, I was using Photoshop, and I saw the potential of all the other apps that they have. So I thought, why not just switch over now before I get like way too into like Final Cut? And I would say one of the toughest things about Premiere, honestly, the hardest thing about the switch was Final Cut Pro is like so streamlined, and I would say it's more user friendly. Like for someone that wants to do like daily vlogs and quick YouTube content, Final Cut Pro, that's your thing. It's basic, it's streamlined, and if you want to get a little more advanced, but I mean, not like you can't do daily vlogs and stuff like that on Premiere. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. It's a little bit more of a hassle, but like Premiere Pro is kind of like a rocket ship terminal. There's like too many buttons, there's too many things, and too many moving parts, and like, if you know it very well, you get used to it. Like now I know it like the back of my head, but like that transition from something that's like super user friendly to absolutely the opposite of user friendly, that's the biggest thing. Too many different things going on. Too many different things.
Yeah, a thing, and I don't know if you know this YouTuber. His name's Daniel Schiffer. Do you know who that is by any chance? Oh, I love him. He's from
great.
Canada. He's amazing. I got a chance to actually speak to him in a Clubhouse room, which was like the coolest day of my life because I love him so much. He's one of my biggest inspirations, and he's like a Final Cut man. Like he loves Final Cut, and that's why I originally got it in the first sense, because I edited on iMovie for a while, and then I like spoke to my mom, and like when I really was getting serious about YouTube in high school, and I was like, yeah, this is an investment, so we're gonna need to do it. And he's taught me everything I know. I pretty much taught myself Final Cut, but any like moving parts type, you know, all the fancy schmancy stuff when I want to do like some drone, because I have a drone and stuff like that, if I want to do drone shots, blah blah blah, whatever, you know, all that whole vibe, then He taught me everything I know for that. I do know how to use Premiere as well, just because I've had to for past internships and jobs, whatever.
Yes.
Something that, why I talked about Daniel in the first place, he made a good point, which you kind of echoed, and why I want to bring it up. For someone who's just starting out in the content space and wants to do a little bit more than iMovie, Final Cut is like such a great option.
Agreed.
For also the sole reason of that it has the magnetic storyboard, you know, and that's something that I saw can be annoying for me now when I want to do the fancy stuff, but for someone who is just doing simple, like very raw, like daily vlogs, like you were saying a couple minutes ago, I think it's such a great tool, and I can definitely see that, you know, being a big thing for people.
Well, I don't want to downplay Final Cut Pro. I totally agree with what you say. Like, you can do plenty of fancy stuff in Final Cut Pro too. It's just you might have to do a little bit more digging, or like
yes,
there's
100%.
maybe not as many videos on it. That
100%.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you. And I can say from experience, I've definitely had to do digging. There's stuff that I see some of my friends that I've met through Arlen, they do stuff, and I'll text them and be like, do you have any clue how I could do this on Final Cut? Because the thing for me with Premiere and why I don't use it as much anymore is because of the content I'm making. Again, like you said, it's just like quick daily vlog, stuff like that. But when I want to do something with a drone shot, you know, I know how to color grade and stuff like that, and I have like LUTs and stuff I can use. So maybe I do want to use it on Premiere, and it's just like, it's kind of different. But I love that you started off on one. You never used iMovie, just out of curiosity?
I mean, I have, like, to do like school projects when I was like even younger than like 15.
That's what I figured. That's what everyone always says.
But yeah, I would say like at like 15, like I really got super into it, and I was like, I'm either going like all out into like one of these programs. And I know, well, like, funny enough, I mean, iMovie is what David Dobrik used.
I know.
So,
isn't it great?
I mean, it speaks volume. He's like the absolute one of the biggest YouTubers ever. So you don't need Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. So yeah, it speaks volume.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it definitely varies based on the creator, I think, and what their brand is. And speaking of that, my next question for you in this content segment is, what would you say Tyler Cavallaro's brand is?
What my brand is?
Has anyone asked you this before?
No, I've never been asked what my brand is before.
Or what would you like your brand to encompass if you don't exactly know right now what your established brand is?
So is this question kind of like referring to like what I would want this brand to be? Like,
yeah, you can say that, definitely. However you want to answer it is really.
So my most recent endeavor after working with Arlen Moore was kind of like, I did almost like, I think we did every other day videos for like a good month. And I saw that it really wasn't all that difficult, and that like putting yourself out there wasn't that hard. So my most recent endeavor has been doing YouTube, and I've been having a blast doing that. I'm trying to do weekly uploads. And I guess with that being said, what I want my brand to be is, I kind of want to use the YouTube platform to not only like document certain parts of my life, but the main thing that I want to do with this is I want to be able to help people. Because like growing up in Aruba, I didn't get a lot of help with like this photo and video stuff. I mean, there's only 110,000 people that are on that island. And then when you think about like how many of those people are kids, and then how many of those people like photo and video, I mean, you get into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller groups. So what I'm saying with that is like, I didn't have anybody to ask for help. I had to learn all this stuff on my own. I didn't have like any classes. No classes were even offered for photo or video stuff. And I had millions of questions and I could never get them answered, and I had to learn them myself. So basically what I want to do is I want to create a platform that I can be that person for people. The person that like I wanted to ask all those questions, I want to be that guy. I want to be able to like help people because I wanted that person. So now I'm knowledgeable enough to be in the position to help people. And I really want to help people. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, but in my most recent video, somebody sent me a DM that I have no idea who they are, but they had questions about my content and
I love that.
How they can achieve the same thing that like I've been doing in college, like doing all kinds of gigs and like making a decent amount of money off of doing them as well. So I answered that in my most recent video, and that was like a start to like what I wanted to do. And the
love
reason
that.
I did it in a video too is because I wrote this guy like 5-6 paragraphs because I genuinely love helping people. And this isn't the first time that I've answered a question like that. So instead of like having to tell like people all like kinds of different things, I would just want to direct them like, hey, just so you know, like 5 minutes into this video, I talk about exactly that and I do it in depth, and you'll have a great understanding of what it is. And then one, I don't have to like write all those paragraphs anymore, which I don't mind doing, but when it's multiplied by like 30, 40 people, it adds up. And you know, like I was doing something important at the time, but I wanted to help them out. So
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I 100% I get it. And that for me, when I got or started getting DMs from people that I didn't know, like that was a big turning point for me and being like, oh wow, it's not just my friends watching these videos.
Yeah.
Like someone commented on my channel last night, say hello to Brazil. I was like, what?
That's
like,
awesome.
That's crazy to me. It's just like insane. I love YouTube. And I talked about this in my last episode. That will be up this Friday, but by the time they listen to this, it would have been already up. So yeah, in my last episode, I talked about being inspired by creators. And something that I mentioned in the episode was that I feel like there's a lot of people in this space that are in it for the wrong reasons now because they see how much money and fame and fortune you can get from it. And something that I really like love about you is that I feel that like you're in it for the right reasons, if that makes sense. And like, I just genuinely, I see the, like, even just talking to you, I see the, like, I don't even know the best word to describe it, but I see the passion that you
couldn't
have
be
for
any
it.
more right. Like, holy shit. I'm so into this. Like, that's my biggest thing. And something that like I really value and look up to about you is the consistency that you have. Like, I aspire to have that consistency. Like, it's incredible, especially like I imagine, are you a perfectionist?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I feel like most creatives really are. And I'm just having a hard time finding that balance between like, not like, so this is something interesting that I stumbled upon recently is like, if you put like your 80% into a video, for like a majority of the audience, they'll see that as like 100%. Even though like, you know, oh, well, X, Y, and Z was wrong, like for them, like it'll move right past them. So like sometimes like in terms of consistency, like you have to like let go of that balance of quality, because like if you and I want to be massive tomorrow and like have like an insane social media following, if like that's what we want to do and whatever we want to do with that, I mean, that's up to us. But if that's what we wanted to do, I'll tell you what it is right now. Consistency. Upload every single day, and then maybe like if you can do it twice a day, but I mean like for us like the most realistic thing would be once a day. Do it once a day for like 2 years, 3 years. You will be at a much different place than you are now. Even if it's like maybe not the difference that you wanted to see, like it's still a massive difference. Because some people are like, oh, I've been doing it, but I only get like, I started at like 300 and now I'm only at like 750, and I'm like, dude, that's huge. Like some people that start off like don't have that at all, and it shouldn't be about like those numbers. It should be about the fact that like you're just doing it for you, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for me, and whoever wants to fuck with it along the way, join. It'll be a fun
100%.
ride because we're going places.
I love that. I love that you just said that, and it reminded me of two things. One, have you ever read the article 1,000 True Fans?
I have. That I was recommended by Arlen.
Yes, he's the one that recommended it to me as well. That reminded me, and I guess because you read that, you have that mindset, but for anyone who doesn't know what it is, basically a little like short synopsis, and like Tyler, feel free to add a little if you want. The main purpose of that article is just to show that, you know, you could have 12 million followers, and like basically if you're not getting like any engagement in any community, and you know, from those 12 million followers, subscribers, whatever, like what's the point? I rather personally have 1,000 people that are in my like content and like just in that vibe of like what I want to do, rather than like 12 million people who aren't into what I'm doing, if that makes sense. Hopefully that was like a good way to explain it. But
yeah, I can add on to that a little bit.
Yeah, no,
It's
feel free.
those 1,000 people will push so much more than like all you really need is that like first 1,000 people. And I'm not saying like obviously that once you reach 1,000, I mean it skyrockets from there. But like there will be like, and it also in a sense doesn't have to be 1,000. Even if you're only getting like 30 views, like maybe it's like 2 or 3 people then that like genuinely like it and share it with people. Like those 1,000 people will like buy your merch. They will.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
X,
yes.
Y, and Z. They will like.
They'll be the ones that invest the time, the money, the interest, and yes, help you grow. Exactly. It's exactly what I was gonna say. So that's one of the things I thought of from that thought you had. The second thing, when you're talking about making videos every day for 2 years. So when I was in middle school, I don't know if you know who these people are, but do you know who the Shaytards are? Shay Carl. Well, he was a popular YouTuber back in the day. I don't really know what happened to him. I stopped watching him, to be honest, because I just like got into my own realm of content. Yeah. But he daily vlogged his life for like 5 years, and it's probably on 10 years now if he's still making videos. And daily vlog, like every single life moment they had, their kids being born. Yeah, it was amazing. And so he was a big inspiration for me when I was in middle school, because that's when I like started my channel. And you know, I wasn't very consistent back then, obviously, like in comparison to how I am now. But when I really started getting serious about it, I just think back to like being the person your 12-year-old self kind of needed, you know? Yeah. Like that's my inspiration for the content. And yeah, that's just reminded me of it. But I love everything you said. I want to move on to talking about, you know, working for Arlen and working, like what it was like working for a big YouTuber and stuff like that, and like your experience, what you learned. So I guess to kind of preface that like portion of this segment, you're obviously from Aruba, like you said a bunch of times. You were born there, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or are your parents from there and everything, or did they move there? Like, what was the vibe with that?
Yeah, they moved there. My mom's from Massachusetts and my dad is from the Netherlands in Europe.
Wow. Amazing. That's so cool. But what a fun place to be born and raised, right?
Agreed.
How amazing. Beautiful, great weather, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. Should I know that?
something about that too that's really interesting is it taught me really early on to appreciate what you have while you have it. Because definitely, like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I would love to grow up there and it looks like it's so much fun. And like for me, it's just normal. Like I don't vacation there. That's home. Like that's like home for you. Do you find home fun? And usually people are like, no, I don't know, it's boring. And I'm like, well, to be honest, in the same way that you think home is boring for me too. Like it's that same definition in your head about home that it is for me, despite it being like a beautiful island. It's home.
That's how I feel about or I guess like kind of related to that, like that's how I try to like think about New York in the way, because it's like I've been so grateful to live in New York and just like be so close to the city and everything like that. So just I always hear people when they come to the city and everything, they just are always talking about, oh, like X, Y, and Z, oh my God, this. And I'm like so grateful that it's my backyard. You know what I mean? And it's just like stuff that people experience, like, oh, going to a Broadway show, like that's something like I could do on a weekend. And like I recognize, especially recently, that I'm so privileged to be able to grow up like near all of that. You know what I mean? And
definitely,
just have it in my back
you forget
pocket.
it too. And that's the thing. Like it's so weird to like have to always remember that you live in a great place, because you don't, because it's home for us.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I really love that you brought up that point. Definitely something I wouldn't have thought about. But I guess to kind of segue into that, you were in at the time, Aruba, when I saw that Arlen posted that he was looking for a videographer. Did you apply? How did that kind of work? Like, let's start our journey with that.
This will be a long one.
Thank you so much to Liquid IV for sponsoring today's episode. If you guys don't already know, working out is a huge part of my everyday life. Since I'm always on the go, I need something to keep me energized throughout the day and throughout my workouts. That's where Liquid IV saves the day. Liquid IV is a line of non-GMO wellness products utilizing the breakthrough science of cellular transport technology, otherwise known as CCT, to deliver hydration and key wellness ingredients rapidly into your bloodstream. The hydration multiplier can provide the same hydration as drinking 2 to 3 bottles of water and contains 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks with less than half the sugar and calories. It also contains 110% daily value of vitamin C, potassium, B3, B5, B6, and B12. I've been drinking Liquid IV for a while now, and I can definitely see an enhancement in my performance. If you guys want to try it out, you can use code LORIOLO13 or click the link in the episode description for 25% off your order plus free shipping. Feel better faster with Liquid IV. Now, back to the episode.
That was a really interesting time in my life. I was still in college doing all this COVID BS. And, I mean, how in depth can we go with this? Because, I mean, this is like...
I mean, whatever you're comfortable
okay,
with.
well,
It's
I
not...
mean, this was literally, like, one of the biggest things in my life right now that, like, I really, really believe in is everything comes full circle and the law of attraction. Like, two massive things. And
say it all, Tyler. This is what this podcast is.
All of the stuff I'm about
it.
to say is literally, like, the law of attraction and everything coming full circle.
Oh,
anyway,
I'm obsessed. Spill it all.
So with that being said, I didn't follow Arlen just for like a super long time. Just how you said, like you grew up watching those YouTubers. I grew up watching like those YouTubers for you were like my Justin Escalona and my Arlen Moore.
Yeah. Of course.
I watched them for a while because I was thinking about going to school in the United States, and they both went to school in the United States. Somehow I stumbled across them. I mean, the algorithm works its magic. And I stopped watching them for a super long time, and I didn't even know that like I still followed Arlen, to be honest. And then randomly, like I finished class one day, and his story notification popped up like all the way at like the front of my things, like next to my story. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that I still follow this kid. Like, let me see what he's up to. Is he still in school? Like, did he graduate? And I click on it. And, like, I literally have not seen this post in maybe, like, 6-8 months. And it says, like, I'm looking for a videographer, And I was like, that's so weird. I haven't heard from this kid in, like, forever. I was like, well, I don't know. I have, like, a weird feeling about this. Let me just go through and apply for it. Because, like, I knew he didn't have, like, an insanely massive audience, like millions and millions and millions of people. So I knew my chances, like, not like knocking him or anything, but like my chances were like slimmer. You know what I mean? So I did feel good about like my position there, and I'm also incredibly confident in myself. I'm not cocky, but I am incredibly incredibly confident in myself.
That's not a word I would ever use to describe you. I'm definitely not cocky.
In terms of like video and photo stuff, I'm incredibly confident in myself. I've been doing it for a while.
As you should be. And it's amazing.
Thank you.
You should be 1,000,000% confident in yourself. Yes, definitely.
Thank you. So
You're welcome.
What I did right away is I saw the story, I saw the email, and I knew what would make my thing as unique is that I'm going to go to the beach and show off like where I live. Like the second that you open this video, you should be like, what? Like that's what you should do with any like job interview. So I went to the beach and I put my camera down on a tripod that like I just bought. And well, I didn't like buy it for the interview, but like I literally got it like 2 days earlier, which was weird too because I've never needed a tripod. And then all of a sudden I needed it to do something at the beach, and it was there. So that has very little to do with it. But I put my camera down on the beach anyway. I filmed this little interview. He said like, you got to talk about Maxie and talk about like why you're fit for the position. And I sat down there, and that was like my first time talking to the camera, and I messed up like a million different times. And basically what I did is I didn't just like also you didn't have to make a video, you could have just applied, but obviously like it's a thing where you're gonna be behind a camera, you're gonna be editing. So I was like, I have to do a video, like it's gonna make me unique. So I do that, I sit down, it's my first time talking to the camera, and I mess up like a million times. I'm like, anyway, fuck it, like I just like gotta get this done because the Instagram story is only up for 24 hours, which is a really interesting comments, which is gonna like make sense in a little bit. So like, I wrapped this up, and it was due on Sunday, and it was like a Friday at the time. So I filmed it, and I was like, all my friends are leaving because they were gonna go back to school. They all study in Europe because we have like a good tuition deal with students from Aruba can go to Europe for super cheap. So they were all going back to school. So I was like, I have to see them one more night, but I cannot let myself like miss this opportunity. The deadline is Sunday. I cannot miss it. So I filmed this thing, and as I'm packing up my camera bag and I'm hopping back in my car, I literally was like, wow, I feel like I need to start thinking about like ideas of what I'm going to tell my mom that like I might be in LA, because I like put my camera away and I was like, I feel so confident that I'm getting this job. Like I am so fit for this position.
Exactly.
And anyway, that was just me speaking it into existence without even doing it.
Exactly.
Without even knowing I was doing it, because I didn't really believe in it as much as I did now. So I said that, And then I edited the video on Sunday, and it ended up being 3 a.m. when I finished, so I missed the deadline. And then I was like scrambling. I was like, man, I need to get this like through him ASAP. I can't imagine how many people applied. I think he said something like 300 people applied for the position.
Wow, that is a lot, yeah.
Or 800, I don't remember. A lot of people applied. Anyway, I was late for the submission, and that, first of all, is not a good look, like when you're doing something for somebody. So I'm like, what did I do? Like, where do I find the email that I have submitted to? One, I'm late. Two, I can't find the email. And I'm thinking, like, did he post it? I'm checking all those different social media. I was like, dude, it was an Instagram story. I'm not even gonna be able to find the email anymore. Like, no way.
Yeah.
It's 3 a.m. I'm not gonna find this. I was like, I guess shit just doesn't work out, does it? I, like, take my chances. I shoot him a DM. I'm like, he's probably not gonna answer the DM. I have no idea. And I go to sleep. The next day I see the email, and like I wrote like a little, hey, I'm sorry, dude, and like I wrote like a little paragraph, and he just responds like with the email. I was like, shit, this is not a good look. Anyway, I send the email.
No, that's just how Arlen DMs though. He doesn't really like. He doesn't really.
Oh
talk
no,
that
valid.
much.
I mean, he's way busier than I am. I'm a little kid in Aruba doing fucking college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like a million people were probably talking to him. Like the same thing. Like I said, like I don't have time to like tell all those people, like help them with video stuff, but I want to make one video. So the same thing how he sent just one text, the email. So he sends a text. I'm like, no way, I still have a shot. He did sound a little like, because he only sent that one thing. So I was like, I don't know. Basically, I send the email, and like 30 minutes later, he's like, dude, we have to hop on a Zoom call. And I was like,
love.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we hop on the Zoom call. He's already in LA. We talk about some stuff. It went super well. And then, we like called a week later from there. Everything was going well. And then we were like, dude, I would really like you to go to LA. Let's see how it goes. And that was that. And funny enough, talking about law of attraction and like bringing stuff full circle, like what happened, I go to Coastal Carolina University in South Carolina, and we got knocked out for COVID, as every single school did. So I went back home to Aruba. We got kicked out of like freshman dorms in March. I got stuck in Florida for a while, and then I went and I spent my summer in Aruba. I finished up online school, and I was like, man, this online school shit is such BS. Like, why am I paying all this money to like do it online? I'm not like having that community experience. I'm not getting close with my teachers. I'm not getting like all the connections I want out of college. I'm getting like 10% out of like what 100% of college is. So I told myself, like, maybe college isn't what I want to do. So I started DMing just like a bunch of like low-key content creators, artists, and some of those people being, one was Rapta, one was, I don't know if you know, Jake the Shooter. I messaged like maybe like 6-8 people. Course. Because one of my good friends that I met in Aruba knows Jake the Shooter. So I was like, dude, like, what are the chances you can message? And like, I was getting messages from them back and forth, and you know what I mean? Like, they're super busy, way busier than me. So like the messages were like light back and forth, you know what I mean? And then, anyway, fast forward, like nothing really ended up. I still ended up going to school in Aruba. I get his chance with Arlen. How was I supposed to know he was in LA? I just thought he was still in BU in Boston, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's like, dude, we're gonna go over and like go to like this like content like house that like a whole bunch of like artists and photographers live in, and they do all kinds of work. Little do I know that it's like Rapta and like Jake the Shooter there, and they're like, dude, why do you seem so familiar? And I was like, well, let's check the DMs. And then, like, I was like, they were like, what, dude? No way. And, like, how was I supposed to know that, like, any of that was going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, it just, that everything came full circle. And, like, the people that, like, I was DMing with, they were, like, offering me to work with them or, like, show up to shoots or, like, do some photos or do some videos. So, like, that was, like, 8 months before that opportunity with Arlen even happened. So, I mean, just speaking shit into existence and everything coming into full circle, like, if you need like someone to tell you that like that shit works, and like if you're listening to this like this far into it, like let me tell you that this is a sign, like me and Lord telling you to start believing in that shit, like it works. And not only like in an advantageous way, like it works in like, I know those were like very big examples, but it works in like small ways too, literally just speaking things into existence. It works well. Sorry for rambling, but yeah, that's basically the answer to that question.
Okay. Long answer, great answer. I love everything. Oh my god, the Brita. I love the Brita. I I know. I always love when I get to FaceTime people on the podcast because like the people listening can't see, but it's just like funny things that you and I, or like me and the guest, will pick up. I love the freaking Brenna. That screams college. But yeah, that was an amazing story. I love everything about that. I guess my next question with that, because you did, talk about a lot, which was great. And you said your experience like was amazing working for him. How did you end up, I guess, getting to LA? Because I think we kind of like grazed over that part. Because you said you were going to like thinking of ways to tell your mom. Like, how did your parents feel about it? How did you actually, I guess, get to LA? Like, obviously you took a plane, but I mean, like, metaphorically, how did that kind of come into the picture?
I mean, as you can imagine, my parents weren't with it at all. However,
of course.
They really started to see like how confident I was in this video and photo stuff, and they did see the opportunity that was there. The biggest thing that like scared them was COVID, and like if we let our son go and he really, really loves it, will he go back to school? And like I promised them like I would end up back at school at some point, which what was one of like the requirements that like Arlen said couldn't be a thing. Like you had to be done with school. So like I was kind of like, I was debating, and like I told my parents kind of like, I guess you could say like a black and white lie. Like I was kind of like, I'm gonna go back to college, but like, yo, if this LA thing works out like really well and like all these things like come out to be true, which they were, I'm not gonna go back to school. But like in order for them to like have to believe me and allow this to happen, like I have to say I'm gonna go back to school. So you didn't
lie, you just stretched the truth a little bit.
I stretched the truth a little bit, yeah, something like that. But yeah, the biggest thing for them was like they knew I was confident in myself and that how much like I love it and that this was a great opportunity for me. Like especially with COVID going on, like I saw it as an opportunity like, hey, let me take a break from school for like 6 to 8 months till everything goes back in person. Like I hate this online stuff anyway. Like this couldn't have come at more of a perfect time, and it really did. Despite me ending up back at school, I mean, LA was incredible. Everything about it was like 11 out of 10.
I love that. Sorry that I'm on my phone. I actually just got the my graphic designer just sent me your art for the Girl on the Train Instagram. Do you want to see it?
Oh yeah.
The podcast. Yeah, look. It's so cool.
Hey, that's sick.
Yeah, it looks a little weird because it's like I'm showing you on my phone to my iPad.
That's dope.
Yeah. Oh, it looks so good. I love it. She's amazing. Shout out Zoe.
Shout out Zoe.
Yeah, big shout out. Yeah, I just wanted to show you because I thought it's so cute, but I'll obviously tag you in and everything so you can see it. But yeah, that totally makes sense. And like you're obviously at school now, so that's a great segue into the next part of this segment. I wanted to talk about college a little bit. So where do you go? I mean, you said Coastal Carolina, so we know that. What's your major?
I'm studying entrepreneurial management, despite me doing absolutely nothing with it.
Hey, you never know. You might use it one day. I love that. That's great.
It works hand in hand with video and photo stuff. Like when you really boil it down, like being able to manage a business. Yeah.
I agree. My next question with that is, how did you end up at that school?
So usually people are like, oh, well, X, Y, and Z reason. Really, honestly, the only reason I ended up at that school is because they offer in-state tuition for students from Aruba. That's about it. Yeah. It's not like...
I did not know that.
It's not like I'm in love with X, Y, and Z. It's literally like I wanted to go school in America. This school offers in-state tuition, and I'm here now.
Wow, I did not know that they did that. That's very cool.
Yeah, there's a couple schools. I guess it's to incentivize getting a larger international student population at campuses.
No, definitely. I love everything about that, and I'm happy that you found somewhere that is financially helpful in that way. So, okay, that's how you landed at the school. You told me what you're majoring in. Let's get down to what people really want to hear about. Because if you follow Tyler, he likes to video a lot of the social scene, to say the least. So what is that like for you? Because I think I've told you this, but like, you know that like I don't drink or I don't like do any of that stuff. Yeah. And obviously if you've been listening to this podcast or you watch my videos, you know that that's like, my friends always are like, that's your brand, that you're like sober, like as a joke. But yeah, so do you, and like, of course, feel free to say stuff and not say stuff. Do you get into that party life, the drinking life? Like, how do you go about that at your school?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely a part of that. And I feel like there's like two different kinds of people at school. Like there's people who like absolutely don't get into it, and there's an audience for that. And there's people who absolutely love it, and there's an audience for that too. So it's like, it's split like perfect down the middle. And I mean, we're both doing college things, and like they're two entirely different things, and that's like the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Like you can see like two total aspects for like what like you see yourself in like in high school, and like what you want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's also not a lot of people that like document that side of like college. So I thought it would be really fun, because I already do this video and photo stuff like pretty well. I thought it would be fun to like do it well and do like what a lot of people don't see, because they just want to go out and do the same thing. I mean, trust me, there was plenty of nights where like I didn't have an absolute blast like I wanted to, because when I first got to college, I wanted to make sure that like this photo and video shit popped off for me. So like what I did is I worked at like I talked about this in my most recent video on YouTube about like doing free work. When I first got to college, I did like we had like freshman week parties. I showed up to every single one of the freshman week parties. However, I wasn't partying. I had my face behind the camera and I was filming the party. And that was my way to like get to know the bar owners, the DJ owners, the artists, all the like important connections there. Oh yeah.
A networker.
And basically now it put me in the position where I'm doing work for every single bar around my college campus. I'm doing, even in like another city, I'm doing like work there. Ooh, and like I'm doing it for like a bunch of the different DJs here, and I basically established myself well. And that was just me like sacrificing not being the typical freshman and going to like every single party and just putting in the work in from the start. I mean, I was still having a great time because I love doing photo and video stuff, but like, yeah, I wasn't doing the most typical thing. And that's what also allows me to not make money right now doing the typical thing, because I didn't start off doing the typical thing.
No, definitely. That's such a fun answer. And I love that you were able to bring out that aspect of networking. I think that's a big piece of advice that I like to give to people in college. And I am, you know what like LinkedIn is, right? Yeah, so I'm like a LinkedIn whore. I like it more than Instagram, to be honest with you. I love meeting people. Like that is like my big thing.
Me too.
Perfect example how we became friends. I think like I DM'd you and was like, hi, I want to be friends with you. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure that's how we became friends. And I think the really cool part about social media now in 2021, as much of like the negatives come out, and it can be a very toxic place sometimes, the big thing and the biggest positive that I find in it is that it's so easy to connect with people from all over the world. Like you're bound to find someone. Like who would have known that you'd be on my podcast right now? Like you're some kid from Aruba, I'm some girl from New York. It's like, who would have thought, you know?
It's
and like
maybe
I will see you in person one day, maybe I won't.
Hell yeah.
I still think it's sick, you know what I mean? So I think that's a really great part of social media that I love. So I love that you talked about networking in that sense. And I feel like hopefully someone who is going to be in your position at one point, maybe in the next couple of years that's listening to this, will see that. And I love that you mentioned that. So that's something I just wanted to condemn you for.
Thank you.
In that, you're welcome. In addition to all of that, would you consider yourself a pretty like healthy person?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love hitting the gym. I just made some steak. I made some sweet potato. I had some spinach. Despite me having a meal plan, I end up cooking most of the time. I love being super healthy. I think it's really important. I think if you have a healthy body, you have a healthy mind. And honestly, the least healthy thing about me right now is the thing I love doing most, all this video and photo work, because the only way you get it done is, honestly, I don't know about you, but super late at night for me. When everybody's asleep, there's no distractions, and you're literally just like zoned in.
So I love that you mentioned that because that's where my question was leading to. I was going to ask, how do you feel like you balance the college social life, work that you get from these bars, these places, editing, schoolwork, hitting the gym, making food? How do you balance everything? Do you have a secret?
It's the same way you're doing it. It's the same way you're doing it. I mean, if anybody right now is killing it more than me, it's honestly you. Like, I don't know how you keep up with that consistency, like on YouTube and stuff. Like, and now, like, not only are you doing YouTube, but you have the time to, like, we're going on 50 minutes right now to, like, not only talk about this podcast, but then you have to go and you have to chop it up too, and then you're doing YouTube too, and I mean, you're doing school on top of that too. So, like, tell me your secret. I would love to know, because my secret is just staying up super late.
Sure. My secret, I'm not even kidding, 2 words. It's my 2 favorite words in the whole entire world. Google Calendar.
Yeah. Well,
my life is planned out to the minute. Like, another reason or another example of me not showing the actual podcast what we're talking about, but I'm going to show you what my day looks like today. I'm going to show you just on...
I would love to see this, because I have everything out on Excel just because I took an Excel class. Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Right? This is my month. And this is just because the month started and I don't have a lot of stuff going on. But let me show you what a busy month looked like. Guys, it looks like a coloring book just for visual reference.
It definitely does.
This is a busy month.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Isn't that crazy?
I'll have to send you a picture of my Excel spreadsheet.
Yes, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, because it's exactly that too. It's like all different colors. It's color coded. If I didn't complete something, it's red. If it's green, I gotta paint it green. If I already completed it, that red, I gotta put the paint bucket and turn it green, and like I gotta see like what my schedule looked like through over like all the months, and I don't know. It's just really what's the word? I don't know how to say it in English. It's satisfying.
Yeah, perfect. That's great.
As you exit, please be careful of the gap between the platform and the train.
Our next segment, these are not really long-winded answer questions, so our next segment is Watch the Gap. And Watch the Gap is the famous, New York City line that you always hear on all the transit systems.
Okay. I love the little segments. Is this new, segments?
Yes. It's brand new
to
season 3.
I love that. It's a nice way to break it up.
And I don't know if you like listening to yourself talk, but if people who listen to this will hear like different New York City subway sounds, like that's what breaks up the segments and stuff like that. So yeah, just in case you want to know. But yeah, so I have a couple questions for you in this section, and feel free just to give like a quick short little answer so then we can wrap up the episode. So where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Oh, how are you gonna ask a question like that and somebody put it short?
I know that's the best part.
I hope I'm still doing video and photo stuff, and I hope I'm not in the office doing no 9-to-5 job. I feel like anybody at that our age fucking says that, so I hate saying that right now, but like...
It's okay. No, say whatever comes to your mind.
I feel like the genuine thing is like what you and I have is like that drive and motivation, like what we're doing right now, and like when people like say something to say something, and then people who like say something and mean it, like that's the difference between the people who fucking do it. Like you and I are people who like can say something like that and fucking do it because we have the work to show that we will do it. Like you can't just say like, oh, I don't want to work till 9 to 5, but you're a business major in college and all you're doing is like preparing yourself to do a 9 to 5 and work behind a computer. Like
exactly.
In my opinion.
No, okay. Yeah. I love that. So number 2, how do you prioritize your happiness to positively affect your future?
Oh my God, I'm happy all the time. I know,
that's what I love about you.
There's rarely times where I'm not happy. Like so how do I, what was the question? How do I let my happiness
How do you prioritize your happiness to positively affect your future?
Oh, one huge thing that's changed my entire life, and for like the one like maybe like 6 to 8 months where I really struggled, is I didn't put my happiness first, and I put like, and I'm talking like not even family, not even friends, not even anything. It's you who should make you happy. When I did something where I was the least happy for 6 to 8 months is because I did something, I sacrificed something I wanted myself to make my parents super happy. And I always made my parents super happy, but like this was something I really wasn't comfortable doing, and I did it to make them happy. Worst 6 to 8 months of my life. The second I realized that and I put myself first again, I was happy, which I've done for my entire life and I'm still currently doing. And I can tell you works. You put yourself first, 100%.
I love that. And I love that you said that you're just a happy person, because like genuinely I've been smiling this whole episode, because I just like look at your face and I'm like, oh, he just makes me so happy. Like there's just those type of people that have that vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm smiling this whole time too. I love it.
That's great. Really great answer.
Thank you.
Next question, where do you see yourself taking your content in the future? And you can give me like an answer that is like so like futuristic, like pretend money, location, time, job, like pretend none of that matters. Like if you want to take your content somewhere and make it something so big, what would you do?
Talk about food for thought.
Yeah. I love the challenging questions. They just bring me joy. He's really thinking here.
I have no idea, honestly.
That's okay. That's a fine answer.
One thing about me is I really take things day by day.
Okay.
And like,
see, that's a good answer.
I know I want to do photo and video stuff, and like I know when I wake up that I want to do it, and the following day I want to do it. So I can't imagine that's going to change 20, 30, 40 years from now, because I've already been doing it for 5, and I don't see myself doing anything different. So we'll just have to see where it takes. Like I have a feeling it's going to do very well. So let's hope.
I know it will do very well.
Yeah. So like, that's the thing. I don't want to say let's hope. Like my thing is like, I know it's going to do well, and I can't just say I know it's going to do well. Like I have to put in the work for it to do well. Like you can't just say like I want something to do well and not put in the work. Like you and I put in the work to be able to say that we can do it, so we do it.
I agree, and I'm looking at my notebook right now because I'm going to remind myself to tell you something when we're done recording, because I cannot put it on the record. I have to say it off the record because it's not public knowledge yet. But I'm opening my notebook to the page to show you, to remind myself.
Sweet.
My second to last question in this segment, and this is where you can shine from what we were talking about before we started recording. Is there a piece of advice you were given or a quote that you have or heard that you would like to give someone?
I had a massive one that I saw today from somebody who I met working on like this tourist venture in Aruba. I met so many people from like my job on Aruba, and he posted something today, and he's in the creative space as well, and he posted something I literally needed to hear today when doing
I love that
law of attraction and fucking
exactly.
everything coming full circle. I was a little concerned about like, I love what I'm doing right now about documenting. So like for me, like I'm a little bit of a macho man, and I don't want to call it a vlog. Like, I don't want to call what I'm doing a vlog. I don't want to call it a vlog. Because, like,
okay, that's fine.
vlog
it's
just
your
has
channel.
a bad connotation. So what I'm doing is I am, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes right now. I'm documenting my college experience. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, you are.
And I thought, like, damn, like, what are my peers thinking of this? Like, are they thinking I'm being, like I'm trying too hard to like make something work? Do they not see the vision? Like, is it okay that they don't see the vision? And half of me says like, dude, you're doing a great fucking job. You're killing it. And then like the other half is like, damn, maybe I do care just a little about what they think. Like, it's tough to say, like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Like, it's tough to say that because, I mean, we're all young and our minds are super like, susceptible to judgment, especially like at how young we are. Anyway, the quote that I want to say is, this kid literally posted it today when like those thoughts were like eating me up a little bit because I was editing super late last night. It said, he posted on his Instagram story, the trick is not caring what everybody thinks of you and just caring about what the right people think of you. Brian Michael Bendis.
Ooh, I like that a lot. That's really great advice to give someone.
My college friends that like drink and go party and like go to class and do whatever, do they think what I'm doing is right? Or the people that, like, I look up to, like the Arlen Moores and the Justin Escalonas and, like, the people who have done what I want to do, would they be proud of what I'm doing right now? I feel they would be like, dude, you're killing it. So those are the people that I should be worried about, because those are people
Definitely.
that I look up to.
I think for me, a big thing that I am trying to do in 2021 is I'm trying to be more intentional about who I give my energy to. And I think it really relates to that quote in the sense where, you know, like, I'm spending an hour of my life talking to you, and, like, yes, I'm recording a podcast, but, like, I feel like you are a friend that adds value to my life and someone that I want to be in my life, as opposed to some random person that I go to school with that I'll meet at a party once, and it's like, what value are they adding to my life? Like, that's something that Arlen has taught me, and it's something that I'm really, really trying to be more intentional with in this new year. Like, it was one of my, like, New Year resolutions or whatever, to be more intentional about the people that I give my energy to, because you have to understand that, like, I know this is really dark, but, like, one day, like, you're gonna die, you know, and, like, that's gonna be it, and, like, you're gonna have no more time on this earth. And to think back on your deathbed and be like, wow, like, my college years, I was so involved in the drama, I was so involved in these people that are gonna be so meaningless to me. That's something my dad always told me. He's like, why do you care about these people that are so meaningless to your life? Like, what are they providing to you, you know? So I just love having friends like someone like you, someone like Arlen, some of my friends from Maxi that I feel like I feel closer with than, like, some of my best friends that I've known for so long, because I can relate to you in that sense. And a big reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast is I feel like, you've said a couple times that, like, we just have similar vibes in that sense.
Definitely.
So I really love that. So I love that you said that quote. That's really great advice for anyone who's listening. And my last question in this segment is, what's next for you? Is there anything exciting that people can look for? If not, that's totally okay, but I do love to open the floor if there's anything that you want to talk about future plan wise.
Future plans, if you're interested in, like, it's seeing, like, I know Justin Escalona and Arlen Moore, those guys don't really do, like, college documentaries anymore. College vlogs. They don't really do college documentaries anymore. And I kind of saw that there was a space to do that, because not only do they not do college documentaries, but they do it, like, in a cinematic way. Yeah. Which is, like, I already knew that cinema part, but I didn't know about, like, daily documenting. So I'm combining those two literally just how they did. So if that's kind of your thing, like, seeing, like, if you're in high school and you want to see what college is like, or you're super into film and you want to learn about film, like, these college documentaries, they're gonna be a lot of fun. And I'm about to take it back home to Aruba this summer. So if you want to see what, like, college is like, and then, like, a college kid living in Aruba, and then a college kid going into his junior year, balancing, like, all different kinds of things, like, you might be in for a treat. Just gonna check it out, because it's gonna be really fun. I'm having a blast doing it already, and I'm only on my 4th episode. So
amazing. Maybe. Well, like I told you that I have, like, family friends and stuff that go to Coastal, so maybe I'll find my way down there at some point.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
So our last section is called Please Stand Clear of the Closing Doors, and we're closing off the episodes. So
beautiful.
I wanted to present to you the quote of the day. So for those who are new, the quote of the day is something that I had from season 1, and basically when I have a guest, I want my quote to basically pertain to your vibe, your journey and what you're doing, if they have a job, like, I just want it to pertain to you. So this is a quote by Dalai Lama, and I'm going to explain why I picked this quote for you after, and then I'll let you talk about it if you want. So Dalai Lama said, "Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions." And the reason I picked this for you, and I've said it multiple times, Tyler is just the type of person that genuinely makes me so happy. Like, I don't even know what it is, but I really thought about it before recording this episode, and I think it's from your actions, kind of like the quote says. And I've mentioned it multiple times throughout this episode already, but you just the things that you do and the fact that you're such a 100% type of guy and you're a go-getter in that sense, I feel like it's really inspiring for me to see stuff like that. And
inspiring for you, you're doing the same thing.
I know, but
it's nice to see people doing the same thing. And like, it's not just you putting in all that work.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay, that's a better way to put it. Okay, Tyler taking over my podcast, whatever. But yeah, so that's just like why I picked, why I picked that quote for you. I don't know if you have any comments about it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I always allow the space if you want to talk about anything.
I've always heard that people think that like my like happiness, or that, I hate to say the word vibe, I guess persona like rubs off on them, and like it makes
your energy.
Energy. Okay, we can say that. Yeah. That like it rubs off on them, and that's, I'm not even saying that from like an egotistical perspective.
No,
like I'm literally just
never.
That's like what I've heard from people, and I honestly don't know what it is. Maybe it's the go-getter personality, but like when I think about my own happiness, and like how I said earlier that you have to always put yourself first. Like, if somebody asks me, like, what do you do to, like, make yourself... I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just, like, always happy. I'm, like, always ready to talk to people.
I think you're you, and that's what's so great.
Dude, you know what? That's what it fucking is.
Yes.
That's what it fucking is. Oh my God. I'm
Energy is so
me
contagious.
all the time. That I'm so happy you literally just brought that out.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. We're educational here on Girl on a Tree. It's fine. Yeah, but like I said, energy is so contagious. And that's what a lot of people say to me. They're like, I love your energy. Like, you're so great to be around. And like you said, it's not coming from an egotistical standpoint. It's just like, when you have a presence and you're in a room, people know you're there because, like I said, energy is contagious, and you're so incredibly unapologetically yourself and you 100% of the time that people love that, because some people don't know how to do that. So that's my 2 cents in that.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, whatever. So last thing before we close off the episode, do you have any social media that you'd love to plug? So if people are interested in checking you out, where can they find you?
Talk about plug. I've been plugging it the whole time. This YouTube thing, this little YouTube gig. I mean, me and Laura killing it. So
maybe a collab in the future. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's definitely possible. Maybe I can interview you at some point for my little YouTube.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm definitely gonna throw this in the YouTube at some point.
Oh yeah,
maybe
cool.
If it's on the Spotify or something, I'll throw in a little clip of
all
it.
Streaming platforms.
Yeah, I mean, my YouTube is Tyler Cavallaro. She mentioned that at the start. And then my Instagram is Tyler AUA. And if you love little pictures of, like, a beautiful island and somebody having fun living on an island and hanging out with friends. And, yeah, I mean, I would say, like, my stuff is kind of, like, lifestyle and someone who knows like how to work a camera well. And if you like that, I mean, there's so many people that do that on Instagram well, but like if you like rooting for the underdog, like, hey, I can be that guy.
Tyler's accounts are amazing to follow. I definitely recommend.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Everything will also be linked in the podcast description if you guys want to check it out as well. But thank you so much for being on this episode.
Thank you for having me, Laura.
This was the best. Oh my gosh, you are so welcome. Anytime. This was the best first episode I first guest of the season I could possibly have.
Oh, thank you.
I loved this episode so much. I knew it was going to be amazing, but this was a long time coming. I remember literally asking you, like, I feel like it was a couple months ago, or maybe it wasn't.
Maybe a couple of weeks ago even.
Was it? I don't even know. Time is like mushed together for me because I'm so busy. But yeah, I'm so happy that we were able to take an hour to chat about this. I hope you guys got some inspiration. I know I always feel so inspired when I see or talk to Tyler. So I hope you guys felt that from just hearing him speak, because he's amazing. Is there any last words that you want to say?
Last words? Honestly, not really. It was, yeah. Oh, if you have any questions about like video or photo stuff, hey, genuinely, this is actually is a really cool one. if you have any questions about like photo or video content and like you genuinely don't know who to ask or like you can't find something, hit me up. I mean, if it hasn't proved enough, I'm really passionate about this stuff and I'm a super kind person, and I would be more than willing to answer your question, whether it's like through a quick text or even better like in a video format. So not only do you help yourself, but you help out a bunch of other people.
Gorgeous, amazing, wonderful, show-stopping. Thank you so much, Tyler, for joining me today. I had so much fun. I hope you did as well.
Me too.
And with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Girl on a Train, and we will catch you guys on the subway. Bye, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for riding with MTA New York City Transit.